of just about everybody I know that was raised in the traditional.
That's right.
Because make no mistake, I believe that there is a church that Christ is coming back for. Right. But the form of the one that is messed up right now is not it.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're talking about the real one.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we come into living for other people rather than living for relationship, because I believe the greatest thing that a person can miss out on having is peace of mind.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's peace of
And
mind.
it's because we try to please people. And coming back to the relationship thing, I think what you said about when you met your wife, I think what's going on in the church, if I could use this example, is when a lot of people date online. You have to be honest with who you are in a relationship.
Right.
You can't write in there, I'm blonde, I'm 6 foot, and I've got a 20-inch waist when you're not. And that's what the church is teaching us to do. It's teaching us to pretend outside,
Manya.
but we can't. But when you give your piece of cake, thank you. But what I mean by that is that it's just
You gotta love her. It's like the little cat spirit, but you just love her. It's so sweet.
the relationship with God will not. I mean, when you meet so go back to the internet dating. When you meet the person, the relationship is not. It's not going to work from the start because there was no honesty. But what the church is teaching us is put in your resume with God that, hey, I go to Sunday school, I volunteer, I do this, I do that, I do that. So your resume to God looks really good, right? But you don't have a relationship because there's no honesty.
Excuse me, James Scott does not have camera etiquette. The producer just handed him.
I was talking, James.
And she handed it to him. So at the right time, he could slide it to me. He hands it straight across Manya. So that she should have just walked up and handed the camera and just put it on my lap.
No, you don't put me out like that.
Slide it under.
Finish your point. I'm sorry. Dr. Bynum, finish your point.
What I'm saying is the honesty thing.
Rebuke everything over there.
In Jesus' name. Come out.
That's a good point.
No, for real. There has to be honesty in relationship. And what the church is teaching us is that we have to have this pretend Christianity. And that's when God will like us and love us. But if God meets the real you, He looks at the heart. It's the same thing with two people getting together. If this person wrote to you, I'm this and that, and you meet them and they're not that person, then that relationship is not going to work. So it doesn't matter how hard you try, if it's not in the heart, if it's not right in the heart with God, the relationship is not going to work. So it doesn't matter how much you volunteer, everything you do for the church and for God is not going to work until your heart is right. But the same way that a relationship is not going to work if there's no honesty in the beginning. If somebody finds out 2 years later that you're not the person you say you are, there's not going to be any trust. And that's what we just say spirituality is trust and honesty. And with every relationship, whether it's between a man and a wife, or a man and a woman, or God and the church, there has to be honesty. And what the church has created is dishonest Christians because we live out here with the works and nothing on the inside.
Now, it is so powerful because this is from Cheryl. This is an email from Cheryl, and I'm going to read this, and you're going to see how you just hit something hard. She said, it is true that the church is bogged down with a whole lot of religion. There are people in church who truly have a relationship with the Lord, and we are considered to be cast outs because we don't look like the traditional church.
Right.
And we know God to go beyond the four walls of the church, and no matter where we are and where we go, the omnipresent God is there.
That's right.
In a church, we go through the rituals, and as soon as you hit the door, you can go back to what you were doing. What a joke.
Whoa.
I don't look like the traditional saint, but the God I serve dealt with my inner man. I established a relationship with me. Now
That's right.
That's right.
That's it. right there.
Just email us. We got to send you a gift package, brother, because I'm going to send you something. No, Dr. Bynum want to send you something for real. I want you to email us back. We want to email you back and get your address. I want to send you a gift package because that just touched me. It said, I established a relationship with me. There was nothing wrong with my outer man. It was my inner man that was jacked up.
Wow.
That's right.
That's good.
That's where people are falling off the wagon, because it's almost like being forced to live two lives.
That's right.
So let me ask you something: Do we breed schizophrenia?
We breed the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Yep.
With Dr. Jekyll in church, because we know, I just felt something. Not nothing. I felt something like, tell James to be quiet. But Mr. Hyde come out when we want to do what we want to do. Mr. Hyde was always the one that was that split personality. So, Dr. Jekyll is the good one, but it was Mr. Hyde that wanted to do the dirt.
Right.
And so I believe that Mr. Hyde needs to come out at church so that we can deal with Mr. Hyde. But we don't know how to do it because of religion.
Well,
we're afraid to.
Well, Cheryl just said that she developed a relationship with herself.
Okay.
And I think during the process, and we're going to be talking about inner healing, we're going to be talking about dealing with depression, we're going to be talking about how to get your mind back. Next week, we're getting ready to start turning this conversation, because we're staying here talking about religion, relationship, church spirituality, because I do know for a fact through my own experience that the traditional means of church did not and was not able to help me. And when I walked through what I considered to be one of the most difficult times of my life, and still walking through the process, I knew from the beginning, Brent, that if I didn't find something else that was bigger than the four walls of the church and a bishop with a collar and a person with a white dress on, I wasn't going to make it.
Right.
And so now we have to start talking about spirituality in the true sense of spirituality, meaning everybody that's watching, we're talking about your spirit man, your spirit, not your flesh, not the skin that you see today sitting on Dr. Bynum. I'm talking about the spirit, the aura of who I am.
I like that.
The aura of what I am made up of.
Right.
And how did I get to this place? How did I just recently moved into a new loft. And I'm very meticulous about who come in my house. Yes. Even though today some things happened before I came and they were coming to do some cleaning and whatever to rebuff the floors, and because all of my floors are like the concrete floors, and they were going to clean over the vents, and all the maintenance people were coming. And when the man walked in, I just got all it was like, well, one person came in and they had a suit on, and the other person came in and they had some maintenance clothes on, and so they said it was a maintenance man, and I looked up and the person had the suit, and I was just kind of looking like, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Because right away, I have already hewn out that space.
Right.
It is sacred. It is where my spirit and my soul will operate.
That's right.
I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody that's watching. And I think a lot of times we are forced to be at work, to be in grocery stores, to be in restaurants, around other souls and other spirits and other people who are made up of different things. And we have to contend with that. But I believe that there's a place that we must hew out for ourselves. It must be a hollowing out position where you can be with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And nothing else comes into that atmosphere. Nothing else is dropped off into that atmosphere, because now you want to know that everything that's coming up and everything that's surfacing in you, these are all of my thoughts. These are all of my ideas. This is what's generating out of my spirit. And if this is what's generating out of my spirit, now how do I correct this? How do I put an end to this? Or is this something that I need to develop? And I think I read it once, and I'm going to read it next week. I'm going to read something that I read on Tuesday Night Live, and many of you weren't watching, but we're getting ready to get into talking about depression and talking about anxiety and talking about, if you're losing your mind, I can tell you how to get it back. And I can tell you that you can handle a lot of what you think you cannot handle, and that you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And one of the reasons why I know that is because the brain has been positioned to monitor, to regulate, to handle, to dissect, to direct traffic. But the problem is when you don't know how to do it and you're not skilled in brain direction and the map of the brain and the map of the emotions and the map of your spirit, then you are a person that will allow everything to clash, and when it clashes, you crashes. So we're going to tell you how to do that next week, and you tune in next Thursday at 12 noon. But James, I was saying that it is the makeup of the person that determines your level of spirituality. And most people are never alone enough, by themselves enough, without music, without tape recorder, to even know who they are. And you got people that are watching right now that are saying, okay, I've been in church all my life, but who am I?
Right. Well, can I say, James, when you said a little bit ago about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll, or
Dr. Jekyll.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is most of us think of ourselves as the dirt.
The Mr. Hyde?
The Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
Because of the condemnation and the guilt we get from the church. When the Mr. Hyde is really the us.
I don't think I'm following you.
You know, Dr. Hyde, or
Dr. Jekyll is
he's the good guy.
And Mr. Hyde
Mr. Hyde is the bad guy. But what I'm saying is, maybe the real you is somewhere in between.
Okay. The real, like she was talking about the R.
The real you.
Okay.
Yeah. But the church and what has come against you and I in the church